Green. Okay, yeah, that's,
Even if it's just
yeah. No, I get it. There it is.
Be sure to sign.
Don't forget your 50-50 raffle tickets.
Be sure to sign the sign-in sheet.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so it's too
Mike.
loud?
If you run out of those, there's at least 12 there. Sometimes we have enough people when you two sheets. I have it on my computer. Sometimes I can either send you the thing, or I can just, when you need them, I can just print them out.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 minutes ago.
It has to be used in a month or 17, so that's by next.
For a 10, absolutely.
No, it's not.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Those are yours. Gary. Where's that other microphone? Thank you.
And then there's transmission capitalization. So we tried
That's not a microphone.
What?
I answered that.
My chair.
Wasn't there a handheld microphone?
Yeah, theirs, but it wasn't charged, and they don't keep their stuff charged, and it's not my responsibility to.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not.
Yes, it
No, it isn't. I don't run the club. Thanks.
I can't get away from it.
You're the audio visual.
No, I'm not. Not when it's other people's equipment. Nope. Sorry, buddy.
We're renting it.
We're not renting that equipment per se. We're renting the fall.
We didn't charge it again.
Yeah.
It wasn't charged last time.
No, I don't know what someone needs to do is look at the batteries and see if the batteries are dying. I don't think they use that microphone, and they just stay on the charger 24/7. The batteries are
Oh,
really
it's
small.
charged.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Can I have some light over my face?
No. You're gonna have to get like a little LED light in the
If
future. and
anybody
flip it
needs
right
an agenda for passing out,
What's
I
that?
have almost for tables.
You want a 50-50?
there. I have no money right now.
Okay. It's a really big shoot. Woo!
What?
Okay, this, well,
There you go.
back in the saddle again. I don't know how this happened, but.
Wow.
At any rate, who's driving the bus edition of the SARA membership meeting? And quite honestly, somebody might think like, what do you mean who's driving the bus? Well, that seems to be a very hot topic on the barometer net in the morning, because either someone's not driving the bus, or someone is driving the bus. That'd be that guy there. And but typically, there are people in the back of the bus, and it's a mess back there. I mean, there's.
That's where we keep
I don't
going.
know what all has gone on back there, but there is debris.
That's
There's police tape. I don't know why.
Yeah, there's donut sticks.
Who's ever heard of donut sticks, really? I mean, seriously. All right, we'll move right along. This is, Nick, just get used to this because, we celebrate our vice presidents around here. So, anyway, Nick's driving the bus. There you have it. All right, welcome, Sarah. Let's see, how do I do that? Good evening, Sarah and friends. Best looking hams in the hobby. I'm going to stick with that. I mean, just look around you. Are we not the best looking hams in the hobby?
Could be.
We are. There you go. All right, very good. Special welcome to Nick and Sandy from Cibolo. Okay. I should know that, but how many people are in Cibolo? Population is?
Well, both of them are here.
Oh, man. Well, my kids both live in Austin, Texas, so, and you're close to, Dallas, aren't you?
No, I'm close to Dallas.
Oh,
We're close to San Antonio.
Oh,
We're
okay.
about downtown, 25 miles from downtown Riverwalk, San Antonio.
Okay, so you're west of San
We're
Antonio?
actually to the northeast.
Northeast, okay.
That's up 35, go 35. You'll hear weather people talk about the 35 corridor when they talk about weather, because it makes a split in the weather there.
Right. Spent a lot of time on 35.
So the north side gets the rain, the south side does not.
There you go. All right, well, welcome, and thank you for visiting with us today. I was hoping that you were going to give us good news about coming to Ohio for the summer, but evidently that's not going to happen.
No.
You elect to go to Japan instead.
Correct.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But
If you guys have a son who's gonna pay your bill to go to a foreign country that you haven't been to for a long time, are you gonna stick around?
No. I gotta make.
I was just
gotta.
merely comparing it to Ohio.
There you go.
Okay, I do want to acknowledge all of our other visitors as well. Let's start at this back table back here. Yeah, Andy, you're a visitor. Let's see, visitors?
Josh.
Josh.
Josh, stand up and tell us about yourself.
Josh, KUPKA.
New dad. New dad.
New dad. Hey, wait, nice. New ham.
Last year, yeah. So, daughter's name is Benjamin Faustina. She's awesome. And my wife Lucy, they're up in Parma Heights. Thought I'd come down and say hi to you guys as I work before. So, thanks for having me.
Nice, very nice.
All right. Okay, other newbies? Maybe?
It's been a while.
Well, you see, when it's been that long, it doesn't,
I've been watching online.
you know, it's like a bad vaccination.
He needs to get his ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other brand new people or relatively new?
You're not new, Nick. Sit down.
Yeah, Nick, oh, there we go.
Jean, KCAOFF. I've been a ham since 2000.
Very good.
Nice,
Very
congratulations.
good. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's, yes, sir. There we go.
Relatively new. I'm KG4SCK from Kentucky, and found you great guys on the air, and I said, hey, I might learn something here. I'm getting back into this hobby.
There you go.
Nice.
Well, don't count on learning anything. All right, very, yes, sir.
Yes, I'm new. This is the first time here. I've been a member since last year, but I'm KI4 RHU. My name's Doug. Grew up in Hartville, went to Florida, got my call sign, came back, and just want to interrupt Gary's net every morning with everybody tossing me eight calls in there. So I thought I'd throw 4 in there every now and then.
Nice. Nice.
All right, are there any other brand new people that we need to welcome? All right, I think we'll forego the normal thing about introducing everybody tonight. Great crowd tonight, and I am so pleased that you all are here. What I wanted to do first is introduce your new leadership team, and they look like that. Mike is a little pale. He's been sick, but you know, we'll see. All right. Well, I asked our leadership team to just prepare a little something just to introduce them to you. And I'm not exactly sure how that request was carried out, but I'm going to find out now. Nick, SLG, you're up first.
Oh. You were supposed to show me, you were supposed to go first so I know how much time I could take. Because,
You got 35 milliseconds.
there's something I definitely don't do very well is talk about myself.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I've been a restaurant manager for 35 or so years, from assistant manager to director of operations. I opened probably 27 restaurants from soup to nuts, probably about 500 or 600 in companies, directly or indirectly. And I'm glad I don't see all those people all the time anymore. Now, radio stuff, though, I do want to tell a story, all right? Because I got licensed in 2012, and I bought a Wouchon, and I would program it up, and I would go out once a month and call every repeater in the area, and nobody ever got back to me. And I did that every month for years and years and years, and then, 2020 and COVID and stuff, and I got back into it, and I got a little FT70 and a hotspot. Within like 10 minutes, I was talking to Australia on 5 watts from Northeast Ohio. And I thought, great, this is cool. So I went outside, I held up that walkie-talkie, and I threw my call out on the W8 WKY. And someone answered me, and that was W8JAX. Okay?
Nice.
And we had a fabulous conversation, and he invited me to some nets and was very welcoming, and I said, okay, this is cool. So I started listening to the bandana net. And so if any of you think I'm a little regimented in my net control operations, you can blame Doug for that. All right. So then when I went to get my general in March of 2021, I think that was the first time we could really get back into doing it, as I recall. And I had been listening to the bandana net, and I had been checking in and out of the barometer net, but I hadn't been speaking. So I go to get my general. They say, "What's your call sign?" In case you say KDSLG, and this character at the end of the table stuffs up and says, "Hey, are you ever going to do more than check in and out of the barometer net?" That was Gary. So how do you feel about telling me that now, Gary? By the way, tomorrow I will be the NCO on the barometer net, so stop by and say hi to me. That's me.
All right, Jeff, you're up. Now, Jeff isn't new. Jeff's been around and he has done an exceptional job.
He's old.
Yes, he has.
Thank you, Gary. Only one thing. I need to get my call right up here. Just so you
WHCD.
know, there's a B on the end of that instead of a D.
Bruce would call you John.
Yeah, whatever.
See, I told you that stuff happens in the back of the bus.
Back of the bus. That's what I'm blaming it on. My name's Jeff Royer, Whiskey 8 top band. And I kind of have that call because I like to work on 160 meters. My background is in IT, which I've got about a little over 30 years in now. And as far as getting into the hobby, I'm fairly recent actually. Got licensed in, I believe, 2018. And how that came about was I had gotten a little SDR dongle for my computer. And I was just playing around with it, listening to different things, you know, police, traffic, whatever. And I happened across, before I had that, and then I decided, well, let me get a portable scanner so I can kind of take it with me. So I got a cheap portable scanner. I used that for a while, and then I started wanting some more. So I got a nicer scanner. And when I got the nicer scanner, I realized that I was picking up conversations off of the repeaters. And I thought, hey, this is kind of interesting. These guys sound kind of neat. Maybe I should go get my license. So I went ahead and did that and started building up a station, and decided that, I think I might like HF. So went and got my general and continued to build the station. And then I got to the point where I was frustrated with always having to figure out if I was in band for my license class. I said, you know what? I'm just going to get the extra to get that over with so I can just go where I want to. So I did that. And of course, continued building up the station like we all do, and changed it 20 different times. But ended up with a pretty good setup. And I enjoy doing now DX and contesting.
Cool.
Well, that's my story for tonight.
Last and of course least, I am Mike, Kilo Echo 8 Quebec Whiskey Echo from Seville. A little bit about me. Years and years ago, when I was just a young boy, my mom used to go to Bueller's in Worcester, and the library was right next to it. I would go over to Bueller's, and well, I should really say my mom would go to Bueller's. I'd go to the Wayne County Library. And I was always in the section where they had the electronic books. They always had the old ARRL books from the 60s and older, tubes. None of these things that we have no clue what they really do for tubes. And I always looked at those and thought, boy, I'd like to be him. To be honest with you, I was too shy. I was too worried about my speech to go and get into it. So then, of course, I grew up and then I worked and life just happened. And then I ended up working, well, when I was young, I worked at a TV audio place. And I was forever working on the stuff. You know, if you want to get an attitude adjustment, you get across the high voltage section of the 25-inch color TV that I will get you. That will get you. So I went through life, and I was watching a show on TV called Phantom Signals with Josh Nass, I believe that's who it is. And he had an SDR that he plugged into his computer. I go, that's cool. So of course, in the age that we live in, I grabbed my iPad and I ordered one. I got it hooked up. I go, wow, this thing works. So I thought, you know, I have done a lot of things which people didn't think I would do. Some of them good, some of them were bad. So I went ahead and I go, okay, I'm going to do it. What is the worst thing that can happen? So in January of 2021, there was a club up in the northeast part of Ohio. So first of all, going up to the northeast corner of Ohio in the middle of the winter, sometimes a little unnerving, just the way it is. And passed my tech. I got a perfect score. He asked if I wanted to take a general. I said, nah. So I went home and I studied for a month. Then I got my general at one of the SARA VE sessions back in February of, I think it was 2021. And I was going to get my extra right away, but then income tax season got in the way, and this thing started out as a little part-time business and now has eaten me alive, which is good. So in December of 2021, I got my extra, which part of it was just a goal, but also I hate having to pull out the sheet to see, okay, am I in the extra portion or, so I thought the easiest way to do it was just go out and get that, and here I am. I have to say I have grown in ham radio, and I'm sure I will continue. Okay, that's all I have.
All right, that is your elected officers, your leadership, or part of the leadership team.
What's your story?
It's coming.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the executive committee or the leadership team, if you would, consists of the trustees. The trustees basically serve as a liaison between the membership and the elected officers. So they're kind of like your representatives, like the House of Representatives, so to speak. So they have you in mind, and I have me in mind. That's not that bleak. Anyway, I do want to introduce Bob Bone, W8 IJG, and Doug Hunter. Let's see, what's it called? Doug's sitting over here, and Dave Swandyke is over there. Okay, that's your trustees. Let's give them a hand. And there's special positions, and this is Stephen Kinford. Among other things that he does for the club, he is also the VE team team lead, and he has done an incredible job with the VE team and growing. Our VE sessions have been part of growing our brand, and Steph has done a fabulous job with that. Russ Orr is the social committee chair. That would be him right there.
And that picture was not taken today.
So was at the picnic.
Yeah, that was close to December.
Yeah.
He was growing it out for his
Santa gig.
Santa gear. Yeah, there you go. And Jason McCormick, past president, and by constitution, he is on the executive committee, and we would not have it any other way. So there you have it. And Jason's done a fabulous job for the last 2 years.
Mhm.
For the last 2 years. And anyway, that's basically the leadership team. And so if you have any questions or anything, call Jason.
Ah.
Yeah, go ahead, because I'll forward the call right to Gary. I have that technology.
Yeah, because you keep everything going.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, I just wanted to give a brief, very brief talk about, I thought, well, new president, I need a state of the club address, right? All presidents need a state address, so this is what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, first, I do want to thank Jason for an outstanding job as president. Absolutely stunningly magnificent. Jason has done an exceptional job. He is incredibly conscientious. He's incredibly technically oriented, and we would not be nearly as far as we are repeater-wise without him. And also John Wagner, NACD, who is also a member of the club, just a tad bit. Is he a recluse now?
I don't know.
Gotta love John Wagner. Love him, love him, love him. He's a great guy. Very, very smart. We have some really great people in this club. We really do. And that's what I want to get into here. We made great strides since 2009 when I became a member of SARA. Membership has increased dramatically, as I mentioned before, thanks to Stefan and his efforts with the VE team. Streamlining that, making it efficient, making it available, and just we have the best story was we were doing VE sessions when no one else was doing it, and we were during the COVID thing, and that was
34
really a
people.
super, yeah, that first session
34
was
people.
unbelievable. But you organized it?
Well, it was Gary and Jason and myself. We were the only, we didn't want anyone else to get infected in case. And people came in droves, and you know, and a lot of the club members who you hear on the radio now from that original session got their tech license. There, you know, ACP was one of them, and several other guys. Yeah.
Well, and you had Doug and Bill.
Oh, and Doug and Bill could never live without those guys.
That has really streamlined the whole process.
Hugely, and a big hand for Doug and Bill, because those guys.
What we need to figure out is what's the ARR record for how many hours it took to fill out the paperwork after the
Yeah, that was a long one. Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah, that was.
But we did it.
We made it, that's for sure. We've also made incredible enhancements to our repeater system since we were in Rittman on their water tower. Access to that repeater system was. I'm sorry. Yeah, we moved the repeater system and the antenna to Marty Baker's tower in 8XPK, and Marty is part of our technical committee, as a matter of fact, and he gives us, well, he loves renting a space on the tower, which is what his business is, but then he was able to get some commercial interests in there, and because he had some commercial interests that were paying a lot of the tab, he decided to give us our space for free. So until that changes, we're not paying anything for our presence on the Doylestown Tower. And how many feet up are we? Sorry. Commercial antenna too, by the way. We replaced a Comet. It was a Comet. Don't you have that?
I do. It's on the top of my house right now. The 2 meter is a ComScope DD224. It's a commercial 2 meter, and then if you drive past it, there's actually 2 antennas, one hanging up, one hanging down. The downside is a like a model, it's a CommScope professional UHF band.
Right.
The center of the mount is 1350 above sea level. I think I want to say it's 200 feet up the tower, but
it's 200 feet, 200 something.
Yeah, it's 1,350 feet above sea level is the
Right.
sound for the antenna.
So with all of that, we have a significant presence with the 3.9 machine, that's for sure. Commercial, we changed out the antenna too. We don't have the disc mast type. It's a regular commercial professional antenna system. So we have a great system, and that has also, and with our nets, that has also added to our membership and our presence in northeastern Ohio. We've increased the number of nets. We have more activity on the air. 3.9 is busy a lot of the time. We've added the board and breaker net on Wednesdays to support Dustin and Nick, who operate the net. And there it has been significant participation from Ohio, so that's really cool that we're doing that. And that's 1 hour once a week, works out really great. And again, it's just more activity, more radio activity, which is a good thing. Field day has transpired from being in Rittman at the pavilion across from the library, amidst the mosquitoes and the cold, et cetera, et cetera. We are now participating in field day in the comfort of the American Legion Hall. So that is a good thing as well. We have a Helping Hands program. Dave, I think you're part of that. You actually started that, and and we have helped a number of hands. We've had club builds, a couple of them. That's worked out pretty nicely. Special interest groups. We have special interest groups that contesting seems to be the most active. We also do special events, and it's a third one.
Contesting special events and
Something else.
Here's a hint, it's not active enough.
Yeah, exactly. And our meetings have changed location. When I was first a member of this club, we had, I just laugh every time I think about this. We had our meeting at 7 a.m., the ungodly hour, at Bueller's. We had breakfast, and the third Saturday of the month, we had a breakfast meeting. And I don't know why, but normally we'd have, 12, 14 people there at the most. But then come meeting day, 6, 7. All right, but we have changed our locations, and we have, and here, the beautiful thing about this is if everybody in the club would decide one day to show up, we truly can accommodate them here. So that is a good thing. And I'm looking out here, fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous. So we definitely need to get our sign-up sheet passed around.
Yeah, there's at least 55 people.
Is there 55? Okay, I thought it was 45.
I haven't signed the sign-up sheet. Do so. This is a great, I'm hoping for years and years of continued presence at this location. I think this is perfect. But it certainly beats the heck out of breakfast at Bueller's at the ungodly hour of 7 a.m. Okay. So as you can see, we've come quite a long way. We've done some great things. We have a great membership. Jason's done a fabulous job of growing the club in the last 2 years. We have well north of 100 members, so that is super.
Well, north of 150.
Yeah.
North of 150
Yeah, 150 members.
paid? Really? All right. I'm liking. No, they don't let me know what's going on. Okay, and the last part of this, I want to talk briefly about things we need to work on. We've done such a fabulous job. We're going to get it eliminated. Marty and I will work on that, get that handled. We want to monitor the power at the repeater site so we know when the repeater goes on battery. I know Eric has talked about that, and as has Jason. Yeah, you can talk. We're going to make sure that's handled. That's an important thing for us. And so anyway, that's one of the things. The 3.9 is, dare I say, perfect? Dare I say that? I mean, yeah, not on plastic. All right. The main thing we need to do as a group, in my humble opinion, and I'm going to work on this, and that's a club culture of leadership. I'll be perfectly honest. Not that I'm not always perfectly honest. I'm mostly perfectly, but other than that.
Yeah.
Anybody need the sign-up sheet? Okay, what I mean by that is I truly was not expecting to come back after my 7-year stint as president to become president again. I mean, I tried to remain active, of course, and I think I did that, but it was a bit disconcerting when nobody wanted to be president. And I find that disconcerting.
It's hard to walk in your shoe, man. And Jason.
I don't even have shoes. So anyway, we have made the mistake, in my opinion, of asking people to volunteer and people won't volunteer. So we are not going to ask for volunteers. We're going to ask you to do things. We're just going to say, and of course, you can say no. But I truly believe that most people, if you are asked, that you'll say, yeah, I can do that. Another thing, I've gotten a couple ideas. There's actually a couple pretty good ideas that have come down the pipe. And they always start with, Gary, you know what you should do?
Yeah. Yeah, you.
Or it's worded something like, you know, the club should, and you fill in the blank. I mean, so Gary can't do anymore. Our leadership team, I mean, we do a lot. We stay busy. But if you think about how many members we have and the capability of the membership, there is no reason that we should have a void in leadership. So not to beat a dead horse here, my intention is to build this culture, build this leadership culture. And we have great people. I mean, really, really good people in this club that, as a matter of fact, every person that has been an officer since I took over in 2011 could be the president of this club and do a fantastic job, bar none. And I mean that sincerely. So we're going to raise that level up. We're going to get our participation up. And so here's some of the things I'd like to do. More social events. We basically are a social club. When it comes to contesting and stuff, do we keep score? I don't know. But we do have a good time. We operate, we put up antennas, we test stuff, we eat a lot. And that's a good thing. So we'll focus on that a little bit. More club-oriented operating events. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on every weekend in ham radio. We need to jump on that bandwagon and become more radio active. I mean, I want everybody to turn green that's in this room. I want you to be so radioactive that you glow. And so that's one of the things I'm going to do. I like to do more club builds. I think we had such a good time. Jason did a fabulous job of putting that antenna kit together, and we just had a great time doing it. The antennas were fabulous. They're really nice antennas, and that was a lot of fun. And we need to do more of that. What's necessary is just a little bit more buy-in. And I'll conclude with this, not that I'm plagiarizing this, but I will say, ask not what the club can do for you. Ask what you can do for the club. Thank you. All right, we have some announcements. NBIS Day will be this Saturday. You guys are, I wish George was here. George Rydell is a big time NBIS guy, has done all of the he's been to the islands during hurricane season. He's done all that stuff. He's done a presentation or two for us here, and NBIS is very, very important for local communications up to, let's say, I don't know, 400 miles. Scott, would you say that? Something like that? Oh yeah, I got it right here. Generally within a 400-mile radius, it's really important for emergency work. And obviously an NBIS antenna is close to the ground. Real important that it's not hard to put up. So anyway, this whole NBIS is not really a contest. It's an operating event. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's coming up this weekend. Also, the Tesco Ham Fest is Saturday as well. So there's a couple things that you can do there this weekend. Also, the next SARA VE session, Saturday, June 3rd. That's going to be at the Sharon Center United Methodist Church. That's in Wadsworth. That's just north of Sharon Center, or the Circle on 94. I want to also, again, recommend the Board and Breaker Net if you're not doing anything on Wednesday afternoons at 1 p.m. Drop in on the Board and Breaker Net, KD8 ECP. Dustin. Speak. Oh my God.
What is it with you and call signs?
I think I'm dyslexic. That's the only thing I can think. Anyway, we've added to our vocabulary. Gary Moment, yeah.
Wasn't the Board and Breaker Net the one in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And it was like every day of the week.
Right. Which we could not tie up our repeater every day for 4 hours. Okay,
that.
so
what was the one that was on Wednesday and Sunday?
That's still there. That's the Beacon. The Beacon Net. Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. So that's what I was saying. We do a lot more nets now, and the radio is, the repeater is busy. Really, really busy. We need to get our UHF digital side going a little bit more too. Anybody else have any announcements for the group? Yes, sir.
Speaking of nets, and Marty, we do a 6-meter net Sunday nights at 7 o'clock. Show some support for Marty. FQB there is the only one that checks in every week without fail. I appreciate him being there.
He checks into every net.
He checks into every net, but if you get the chance, you got 6 meters, pop in, just say hi. Right now he's checked out.
Yeah.
53,171 meg offset. And the tone around here would be 114.8 or 136.9.
I was also going to mention with that, you can check the website, and there's a list of.
It's not on the SARA website.
Yeah, it is.
You'll have to show me where, because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's on the operating tab under other repeaters. But there's a map that has all of the 53.17 receive sites and all their key elements.
Fine, thank you.
So that'll help people out. They can figure out from there.
All right, any other announcements? Russ?
50/50. We have not made the $75 tonight. So more people have to buy 50/50. Also, Ken Dorsey donated this prize. It's a $100 gift certificate, good towards the purchase of any Alpha antenna system. Includes accessories. And it has to be used within 30 days from last Saturday. And that was the 15th, so probably by May 15th it has to be used by. So if we draw your name and you can't use it, we'll draw again. And other than that, we need more 50/50 sales today.
Tell you what, Russ, I will take.
Thank you.
One of these days, I'm actually going to them.
No, you're not.
I know. Never.
All right, yes, sir.
The Medina Half Marathon is May 27th, and the person that's in charge of it is looking for ham radio volunteers. Last year, they did it, and she was extremely understaffed. So if anyone would be willing to come to Medina on May 27th, would you guys be willing to put a link on your website to put the information and a sign-up sheet?
Yeah, why don't you?
I'll email it to you.
Email some stuff, and then we'll announce it.
It's a real easy event. She'll give you instructions. You stand in a corner, an intersection, and call in or something.
What was the date?
May 27th, Saturday.
That's a week after Hamvention.
All right.
I think it might be 2 weeks after.
Yeah, email me the information. We'll make sure it's on the web.
It is not the weekend of payment, but yeah, the week after.
It's a week after.
Week after, yep.
Okay, anything else before we? Yeah, Ken.
Really?
If you're a member of Summit County Aries, or you know anyone that is a member of Summit County Aries, we will not be meeting at our normal location next week, which is the Red Cross in downtown Akron, for obvious reasons. We are moving our meeting location to the Stowe City Center. So if anyone is in Aries, our next week's meeting on Thursday evening will be actually at the Stowe Municipal Building, the Stowe City Hall. And if you need to know any information, just let me know. I'll have it posted on our website eventually, on the Aries website. But I just want to let everybody know we're not going to be in downtown Akron next week. So
That's Graham Road, I think, isn't it?
What?
That's on Graham Road, isn't it?
It's right on the corner of Graham and Darrow.
Okay, anything else for the good of the cause? All righty. Treasurer's report.
Okay, start off, we have the beginning balance of $44,39.55. We did make our payment for our field day hall rental. Also a refundable deposit for the rental. And the only other things are the All-Star virtual hosting and deposits. We had $85 from our last meeting for the 50/50 raffle, and we took in $888.65 in membership dues, leaving a balance of $49.56. $1,100 of that is in the repeater replacement maintenance allocation, and $38.56 in the general fund.
All right. Did you want to mention the donation?
You want to?
Too early.
Yeah, let's wait on this.
All right, any questions about the treasurer's report? All right, club business. Let's,
you need a motion?
For what?
Move to accept pending audit.
Second. Oh.
Who's going to audit?
Move to accept.
I am.
I was gonna say out of practice.
Very out of practice.
He needs another 7-year term.
Wow.
He needs another nap.
He needs another nap.
Oh, that was cold. That was cold. Okay, motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Motion.
Fred, W-A-A-K-O-C.
What am I, chopped liver now?
Bob,
I know, he
Bob
just
already gave a
bypassed-
motion.
He probably wouldn't remember your call sign anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, who wants a second? Scott Young.
I guess I don't count.
Oh, and also,
You gotta play it yours now, Bob. You gotta.
Look at that, he got it right.
Throw something at it.
Yeah, this was in my way. You couldn't see me. Did you laugh at me?
I'm not commenting. Okay. All right, here we go. Club business, field day. Yes, it's time to talk about field day. We're going to have a fabulous time. We're going to be back. Never mind. I'm not going to steal your thunder. Take it away, Nick. Nick's our field day chairman for this year.
Jason's happy. Okay, the hall has been rented. That's the update. Gary, where's your smile? Come on, that was funny. All right. So I had big plans of having all the sign-up sheets and everything set up for that, but it's still too early for that. We are 9 weeks and 2 days away, and that doesn't sound very far away, but stuff's going to happen between now and then. So this is going to be more of a rah-rah session than an update session, okay? So it is June 24th, 25th. Everybody with your phones out right now, put that in your calendars, please. It's going to go from noon Saturday until basically noon Sunday. We're going to run either a 5A or 6A station, as we always do. It's going to be at the American Legion Post, 423 in Rittman, right down the road. And as Gary said, we do field day right. We're not going to be outside under a canopy with two things. We're going to be inside with air conditioning and lights and running water and flushable toilets. Yes, Randy?
Yeah, I've been asking people already about it, and I came across a guy I work with that has he's a leader of the Boy Scouts, and invited him to the Boy Scouts.
Oh, invite them in, and that's the whole point. You know, we'll do setup at noon on Saturday. We start operating at 2, and from 2 to 5 that day, the focus has to be on the visitors. Okay, the people that are coming through, the techs that we want to sit down and get and lure them into being generals, let them play with their radios, and we're going to be ambassadors, pressing palms and kissing babies, right? Yes, that's
Pressing babies and kissing
okay.
palms.
And that's the point of the afternoon. It's not a contest; it's a parade, in so many words. So that's the focus then, and then we eat. Russ?
Yeah.
Russ will feed us at 6 o'clock or so. Then we operate overnight. Russ feeds us again at breakfast. We tear down and we clean up.
You'll get fed when I decide to feed you.
Sausages from 2 years ago.
Hey, where is that pan of missing sausages?
Hey, I'm thinking about meatball subs.
I wasn't there. So a lot of this stuff, Jason's taking care of a lot of the tech stuff that I don't know anything about, but he's depending on me to herd the cats, if you will. So with all of the membership that we have, shouldn't be too hard to get 10 or 12 people to set it up, to really man those radios during that time. And this is, the field day I was at 2 years ago was the first one after COVID. And a lot of us had never even met before, even though we've been talking on the radio for a year or two. So it was very much social event. It was a social event.
And you were there when
And
the sausages disappeared, because that was the time you changed my tire.
yes, I changed your tire, and I didn't even know you yet. But what we do have to do is we got to get some radios. So some of you have brand new, sparkling new radios that are lovely. Maybe somebody wants to try them out. Maybe some new folks, they're trying to decide between an ICOM and a Yaesu. This is their chance to sit down and get them. I will tell you, for the field day that I went to 2 years ago, I offered up my 991 Alpha, and I had had it for 3 or 4 months, and it was the first time that I had it hooked up to a real antenna, and it sounded fabulous. And I was so proud of myself. And I hovered over it like it was a new baby for about 20 minutes. Then I started wandering around and talking to people. But you get over that newness of your radio real quick. I mean, by midnight, KF8G was using my radio. I let him use my radio. That's how over the newness you got over it. So it's a good time. Everybody should plan on being there, and a lot of you are going to get tapped by me to be there and do stuff for me. Right, Dustin?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, all right. Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. Andy? Yeah, all right. And let's see, I got Mayor Bill coming from Rittman. Randy met Mayor Bill. He's a nut job, isn't he? Yeah, he's like Mayor Adam West from Family Guy.
I like his little vehicle.
What else? Doug, are you going to be stopping by?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, there's another 100 points. I am going to have to find a safety officer. Who's getting safety officer point here? All right. Because Nick QKO is not going to be there this year. He did it for last year or the year before, I think. But I am getting his generator, so we'll be able to run off of that power. But somebody's going to have to manage me and make sure I don't go out there and play with gasoline.
Educational event?
I don't have one. Any ideas?
How to safely play with gasoline.
I'll make it happen.
Can you?
Put me on it.
Okay, you're on it. All right, get an educational event. Other than that, I'm just kind of putting it together. Think conspiracy theorist with newspaper clippings and magazine clippings on a wall with yarn going between them. That's the stage I'm at there. By the next meeting, we'll have some sign-up sheets. We'll start narrowing down hours. People will know better what they're doing in June at that time. There we go.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, VE report and update. You guys had a successful VE session.
Yeah, we did. Had a great, successful meeting session. I'll throw this out there really quick because a lot of people don't realize. I won't take too long, but back in 2019, Barry said to me, "Hey, you mind in the December of 2020 if I can hand it to you?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, no problem." Then when the COVID thing hit, because he's his wife's only caregiver, he says, "Hey, I'm going to have to hand it to you earlier." And as Gary said earlier, nobody was doing testing anywhere. And we put that call out. I watched the thing go up, our first session, our second session in May. And I watched the numbers go up. It started at like 7, and then I said, "Hey, we got 7 people." And it's like 2 days later, it was like 15, and I said, "Hey, we got 15 people." Then it was like 22, and I said, "Hey, we're getting in trouble here." And then it was like 34 people. But anyways, we had a couple walk-ins. But real quick, we did 4 sessions. Barry Alman's KI8B. Originally, it was every quarter, and then the Wayne County guys asked us if we wouldn't mind coming in and helping them with 2 sessions or working with them with 2 sessions. So last year we moved to 6 sessions a year. February, April, June, August, October, and December. And the 2 sessions in Wayne are February and August. And then they asked us if we would do it again. We always check to make sure that everything's good with those guys. And Bill and Doug, phenomenal. They helped us out that first session. And from that point on, I knew that we probably should have somebody doing that because they take all the burden off of everything that we do. And the test session stays relatively quiet comparatively, other than us VEs who talk sometimes. And I always tell people, if you guys have a problem with us, throw your pencils or your calculators at us and we'll shut up. But other than that, though, we've had great sessions, fantastic sessions, and a lot of good people have come through. One real quick one, and you saw her at the last field day. I'm trying to remember what her call sign is. The one with the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody remember?
It was Melinda.
Melinda. She said, "Do you mind if I bring my baby to the session?" And I said, "No, absolutely not. But would you mind coming a little later, like, just in case baby cries?" She said, "No, not at all." She came in a little later. The baby never made a sound. She got her tech, and she came to field day. And those of you who saw her sitting around the radios, she was like a kid in a candy store. The guys were watching the baby, and she was over there on all the radios testing stuff out. But she said that her husband, yeah, she said that her husband's gonna actually take his test at some point, and then they're gonna, have that going for him too, But the sessions have just opened up so much for me and the team. Oh, last thing, we are moving to exam tools. The system that we're not going to go like online for people, but we're going to use the automated grading system that's coming soon at a VE session near you. So that's all I'm going to say. But thank you for letting us be able to do the VE testing stuff. Appreciate that.
All righty. Yeah, a big part of our arsenal is the VE sessions. Social committee, Russ?
Yes. We're ordering T-shirts for field day. Not sure what the cost is going to be yet, but it's just going to be like every other field day, except it's going to be green. It might be safety green, bright green.
Safety.
Yeah.
Radioactive
Like that
green.
safety T-shirt, but in green.
Can you put that on there? Radioactive green?
Yeah, let's put anything we want on there.
Cost you more probably. Radioactive.
Okay, we're gonna have the T-shirts. This is the Field Day 2022 long sleeve version, which I thought a few of us got long sleeve shirts because
I
sometimes.
got one, but I didn't order it. I ordered 2 short sleeves.
Well, they had to put
Somebody-
yours together so that it would fit.
Somebody screwed it up. Anyway,
I didn't say
also,
that.
No, he didn't say that.
also, this place that I'm planning on using has other merchandise they can have our logo on. I'm looking at can koozies. How many people are interested in having a can koozie?
The cozy.
Koozies.
This is a can koozie.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
This isn't Budweiser. This is honest. This is a Arnold Palmer.
We don't care.
I care.
So he cares. Stephen cares.
Excellent.
I didn't talk dirty to you, right?
Anyway, that's what I'm looking at. Don't know if I'm gonna do it or not.
Okay.
But,
So we'll talk. The important thing is we're gonna have T-shirts for Field Day, and we will have those orders put out, same as usual. We'll use the webpage. Secure payment on the webpage works nicely.
And the sizes will be small, medium to 5X large.
That's adult sizes, right?
Have you ever seen a 5X kid? Yeah.
I've seen some 5X kids.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I have.
Yeah, he was a teacher for many years.
Anyway.
He's playing linebacker for Ohio State.
That's what we're gonna have. We don't know the cost yet.
Cool.
But-
That's just, that's all in preliminary stages.
Yeah.
And of course, we're gonna work on the food for Field Day as well.
Cool.
Yeah, and we're gonna have meatball sandwiches. Meatball.
Deal.
Yummy.
And,
Okay. Anything else, Russ? I'm sorry.
and maybe salad, and probably have some mozzarella cheese.
You gonna get something healthy?
Huh?
Water.
Point of what? Yeah, this is a party.
I'll bring the donut sticks.
There you go. There you go. Those won't last till then.
Okay, any questions about the social aspect of what we're doing?
Oh, I have a question. Remember I mentioned to you about the baseball game?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How many people would be interested in going down to Canal Park? No,
It's your dog.
going down to Canal Park for a Rubber Ducks game one night. If I go down there and set it up, you'll have to buy your ticket, but hopefully it'll be at a discounted price. they usually announce your group sometime during the evening.
Rubber ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise hands who would want to go.
I love the ducks. I love the ducks.
And I think they put our group on the scoreboard. and stuff.
Jumbotron. Yeah.
Jumbotron.
Yeah.
All right, so there looked like there would be some interest in that, so we will check it out. All right, very good. Anything else, Russ?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll probably think of it later.
All right, the last two items, Jason's going to talk about the tech committee report, and we have to do something with club gear storage and disposal. So we just wanted to throw some ideas out to the group here, and then we'll go from there.
All right, I don't think I have a whole lot on the tech committee stuff. We've had a lot of good feedback on the repeater upgrades that we did. Oh, I gotta go.
Come out from behind the pole. Thanks.
I did this. It's Gary's turn. I get to stand back there.
It doesn't matter. Get out from behind the pole.
We've got a lot of good feedback on the repeater upgrades, which has been good. On the 3.9 machine, that's been working very well. I will say I've had a couple of conversations with people. The way that 3.9 is set up, it's really optimized for you to use tone switch on your radio. It will make your listening experience much better. You program that the squelch drops out before the tone drops out before the squelch, so you will never hear a close. Conversely, to make sure that a lot of people can get in, the squelch, the open squelch in the repeater is actually very loose, and we're relying on the tone to open up the controller. So this is a public service announcement. Pull out your radio manual, edit your memory channel, and enable tone squelch on receiving the signal. I haven't even really talked to you about this yet, Gary. John and I did some testing. John came out of hiding. We did do some testing on 275. The current working theory is it's actually the radio, and not noise. I have a whole stack of them. So I'm going to take one of my UHF radios out there and swap it out and see if it fixes the problem. Okay. So that's the working theory on 275. If that fixes it, then we're going to proceed with the plan that we had last year, which is we're going to turn 275 into a fully multi-mode repeater in that it will do analog and all of the digital modes. I'm working on a circuit design to actually use like a little microprocessor to pick the winner and leave it on analog or digital for like 15 minutes, some of those kind of things. And the main two reasons we want to do that, one was Barry and the Pajama Net guys had asked us to look into that. I know they were having Marty, I think he was having some problems with 444.2. I think they're on 147.135 now. So for that, and then also what we would like to do is use that as there's been talk of people wanting to do some more all-star net and linking stuff, and to work out a schedule where we do like more, if people want to do some more random nets and things like that, is be able to do that on the 275 machine and kind of have that be more of the playground, so to speak. So we are working on that. Other than that, everything's been going very well, I think. At least I haven't received complaints, and usually I get lots of texts when something isn't working. So I do appreciate Nick emailing me, not texting me at 7 o'clock in the morning. On the second half of this topic, while I have enjoyed being the field day chairman and vice president and on the tech committee and then president, I have accumulated an outstanding amount of club equipment that is consuming a non-trivial amount of my basement and garage. So one of the things that I think we need to talk about as a club, and probably in the executive committee, is where to store that. Some of it, we may want to consider as a club having a small storage unit. those aren't the cheapest of things to rent, but
No.
the club on the other hand, the club has a lot of fairly nice gear now that probably should be well stored. Yeah, climate controlled, but at least for the short term, we're going to do a couple of things. One is the field day chair or someone in that orbit is going to get to inherit all of the field day equipment after field day. And then we have a lot of miscellaneous old pieces of the club's different field day. There's a bunch of old coax. There's some old things on spools that are written that they're an antenna on the side. I believe that they may have at one point been an antenna. I'm not convinced they persist as antennas, but there is like some window line and some other wire and some things like that in there. So I'm going to go through all of that, and I don't know if we'll get to it next month, but June for sure. We're going to probably have a big 50-50-ish raffle, and the prize will be you get to pick from the table of
Stuff.
miscellaneous old SARA things.
Cool.
So
I'll buy in.
yeah. So that's where we're at. Any questions on the repeaters, tech committee stuff, anything?
I want to say something. I don't know. We'll go back up a little. It's not related at all to where we're at here. You know, I've been in this just a couple of years. I'd like to thank all the leadership, from the ones who do the nets, the net controllers, you guys up here, Nick, who does the net logging for different nets. And I appreciate the tremendous amount of time that you people dedicate to this hobby. Myself, I'm not one of the, household words on this repeater, but I mean, you people never fail to amaze me with the time that you put into this thing. And as someone once said, well, I think it was the last meeting or the meeting before, it's not just a hobby, because I also understand what the real purpose is behind this thing. And we hope we never have to use it as such. The emergency communications and that type of thing. And yeah, I just want to say that it doesn't get said enough. We should say thank you to the net controllers and the leadership we have up here.
That sounds like a campaign speech.
You wish.
Thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. Okay. This is your opportunity. If you have anything to add, anything for the good of the cause. This is what I call around the room. So it's around the room. If anybody has anything to say, comments, critiques, complaints.
You know what you should do?
Anything for the good of the cause. All right. Oh, Mike.
For those of you who know me, I am in the process of downsizing my household somewhat for a potential move/trip to Germany at the end of the year. I have found that I have collected a fairly substantial number of various size sealed lead acid batteries for various projects in ham radio. Next month for the meeting, I will be bringing in several sizes for whoever wants them, for whatever project. I was going to bring them tonight, but I realized I have several cat litter tubs worth of them, and some of them haven't been checked or charged in over a year, so I need to make sure they work before I hand them off.
So if you have projects you need batteries for, let me know next month. And I've got several sizes, mainly 7.5 amp hour, 12 volts.
So did you say move? Was that part of your?
He did.
I am preparing to be in a position to do whatever the answer to that question is at the end of this year.
Really?
That could be go to Germany, that could be her coming home, that could be us moving to Montana, that could be us moving back to Ohio, or Michigan, or Florida. It could be going to another place other than that. I don't know any of those specifics yet. I'm just at a point where it's like, Easter weekend this year was her 4-year anniversary on a 5-year contract. So at the end of the year is when we have to figure out what that answer to that question is.
Basically,
potentially it could even be going to South Korea, which is she's on a plane going to right now as we speak. So
basically, it's oh no, I better clean up the house before she gets home.
It's a slight adjustment to that, which is she knew how much crap I had when she left, and it's been 4+ years. And I really kind of need to make it look like I did something while she was gone.
Nice.
I'm thinking that ship sailed, Brent.
Yeah.
You could always reach out to the Helping Hand Committee. They might.
I'm fully admitting that right now I'm about 3.5 years behind on my 4-year plan. So.
All right. Well,
Excellent.
All right. Can never have enough batteries. That's my true.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I was just going to say thanks to WE8WIZ for the sound system.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's letting us use that for the
You know, and it makes me sound really good. So thank you.
Well, you're not.
Actually, it makes me sound pretty.
You're not hearing it from where we're hearing.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, well, you came good too when you were talking.
All right. I will say that this meeting went longer than they will normally go because I was verbose. And I'm not normally that verbose. Everybody knows that.
Really?
All right. 50-50 raffle.
We did not make enough money to pay for this month's rent on the room. Does everybody have their blue tickets?
Isn't it the raffle guy, Joe?
What's that?
Yeah, I got my.
Yeah, right.
The number is, you ready?
Here's your ticket.
7378 30. I can only read it once.
Read it again.
Yeah. 73783. What do you have? Nope. 0.
830. Anybody?
Can you read it?
Sure.
I can read it.
Okay, we'll say it loud then.
All right.
Here, Gary, read it.
He's got it.
He's got it?
How do you know?
He's got it back there.
Oh, my. All right.
But don't throw your tickets away. We got one more for the $100 gift certificate. So.
Okay.
Outstanding.
All right, read one more. Read it.
All right, this one is for this prize. And I guess you got to go online to alphaantenna.com. And you got a month from the 15th to use it.
They make great antennas. We're going to actually be testing out one of their antennas for NVIS Day this Saturday. So Alpha makes great antennas.
737816.
I can't even count that.
Right there.
Right, there he is.
There he is. Keith.
All right. To everyone that won.
Woo! All right, motion for adjournment.
Motion for adjournment.
Stefan. Second. Scott.
Anybody who opposes gets to be president.
Yeah.
I oppose.
You want to be president?
All right, let's take 5, and
Nobody wants
restrooms are back here in the corner. Jeff will get the presentation ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to talk about RFI in the shack, and it's something you don't want in the shack.
Should be 80.
So,
Good to go?
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right, in sake of time tonight, I'm going to try to roll through this a little bit quicker than I would normally. You know how Gary likes to expand a little bit, just a little bit. All right, so tonight's presentation is going to be on radio frequency interference, or RF, in the shack. Obviously something you don't want and something you want to try to mitigate. As I was preparing for this presentation tonight, I realized many of us, including myself, have struggled with understanding the technical details of how coax cable, which most of us use, with presumably two conductors, center conductor and the shield, can effectively behave like it has three conductors. So this is one I had to get my mind wrapped around a little bit. And to unpack this, I prepared a few more slides at the beginning tonight to hopefully help us get a grasp on what's happening. So the first half dozen slides here, some of them you may want to have your eyes roll back in your head, but just stick with me. We'll get to the last one pretty quick, and you will, the light bulb hopefully will go off, and just like it did for me, and you'll have a good setup for the rest of the presentation, which is very easy to go through. So the first thing we're going to talk about is something that you may or may not have heard about. Is called skin effect. And as you can read with this, it says when direct current passes through a conductor, it tends to uniformly use the entire cross-section area of the conductor. That's direct current. When alternating current passes through a conducting material, it has a tendency to concentrate the current near the surfaces of the conductor, and this occurs due to the changing direction of magnetic field associated with the alternating current, resulting in a back electromotive force that tends to push the conductive electrons towards the surface of the conducting material. As the frequency of the alternating current is increased, the crowding towards the surface becomes more pronounced. Since there's less conducting area, the resistance rises with frequency. In a common conductor such as copper, the skin effect can be quite pronounced at typical amateur radio frequencies that we use. For example, at 1 megahertz, 63% of the current flows in the outer only 0.067 millimeter of a round copper wire. The current decreases exponentially, and this 63% level is considered one skin depth. 98% of the current is contained in 4 skin depths, and you can see about a third of a millimeter from the surface of the wire. Past 5 skin depths, there is, for all practical purposes, no current flowing in the wire. Thus, the center of the wire, with a radius greater than 5 skin depths, is essentially wasted material, making a tubular shape or replaced with other structural. On some of the tables around here, I've got some coax, and you can kind of pass around that, right? And this coax, as you can see, has next slide here. It has a center conductor, it has an insulator, and then it also has a shield. In this case, the shield is solid around these particular pieces. This is hardline. And what I want to point out is that we all think of current going down the center conductor, for example, in these cases pretty big. But really what is happening is the current is riding along the very thin area of the outside edge of that conductor. And the same thing with the shield. The current is riding on basically the inside, very thin inside edge of the, in this case, solid, or if it was a braided shield, would be the same thing. I'm going to skip over this one for time. This proximity effect kind of goes along with skin effect, but we'll move a little bit past that. And now we get to the coax cable. Now consider a coax cable with the outer shield that is several skin depths thick, with the alternating current flowing only on the inner center conductor. The shield is completely disconnected for this description. The alternating current flowing through the center conductor develops a magnetic field around it. Since the outer shield conductor is several skin depths thick, field developed within the outer conductor. And I'll skip down on this, as the current on the inside, this is the inside of the outer conductor, the inside of the shield, it must close in on itself, so the current flowing on the outside of the shield is the same as the current flowing on the inside of the shield. Now, if we connect the shield as it would be used in usual condition for an amateur radio application, we have current flowing on the outside of the shield due to skin effect that is fully canceled out due to the opposite induced current from the inner conductor described earlier. This leaves us with only the current on the inside of the outer conductor. It should be clear from this description that the result of the current flowing on only the inside of the outer, or the inside of the net result is the shield of the coax cable acts as an electromagnetic shield that for all practical purposes does not allow electromagnetic energy to radiate from the coax cable. So we all know that our feed lines do not radiate until they get to the. The thing I want to get across for this is that, and we'll start talking about common mode, center conductor and the shield, but like I said, with the skin effect, it's riding on the inner surface of the center conductor, or outer surface of the center conductor, inner surface of the shield, and with that would be differential mode currents back and forth, AC. What's happening is on the outer of the shield, this is where we have common mode currents that end up getting into our equipment, basically. So you can essentially have your two conductors, if you want to look at it that way, alternating current in your cable, but you can also have riding on the outside of the shield interference that will make its way back into your equipment. So with this common mode, as a guy who brings in another conductor carrying alternating current antenna element, if you bring it in close proximity to the coax, it will induce a current in the shield. The shield is several skin depths thick. None of this induced current will appear on the inside of the shielded conductor or anywhere else in the coax cable, but rather it will flow on the outside of the shield due to skin effect. So tonight, I really wanted to kind of cover that so we understand that there's the way that RFI is getting into equipment, or one of the ways we can get into equipment is that way. So tonight we're going to look at fairly simple, straightforward things that you can do to hopefully reduce the noise levels on receive and also avoid causing RF interference. And of course, you can't totally protect yourself, from your neighbor's electronics, but you can protect yourself against pumping RF into the electric utility supply that you share with them. And we'll cover that as we go. Things I'm going to cover is where does it come from? What can I do about it? And how to win both ways. Because what you do from the transmit point of view is really going to benefit you on the receive side as well. And I'm going to be mainly talking about the transmitting side because it's easier to explain that way, but from time to time I'll turn things around and show how the basic principles work with the receiving as well. And basic principles are important here because RFI is an extremely messy subject, as we know, and there are many factors that are important to stick with, but really the basic principles we want to stay with and know that they'll be still operating. And of course the question is, why is this a new problem? Well, it's a new problem because we have the modern technology perfect storm happening now. And the flood of electronic consumer goods, the amount of electronics all of us have in our homes has just exploded, as we all know. The FCC's weak enforcement policies certainly don't help, and there's not much, if anything, stopping non-compliant equipment from coming into the country. Certainly the failure around, all around to stem the flow of primarily Chinese imports, which do not follow our regulations, and also poor understanding of technical problems. And this is top to bottom. It's not just our neighbors, it's not just the FCC. So what we're trying to do is avoid us being part of the problem as well. So the result is that your home is full of electronic devices that can easily cause interference to amateur radio on the receive side, and equally be affected by your transmissions because they have poor immunity. And of course, the same is true of your neighbors' houses and everyone down the street in basically the entire neighborhood. So where does it come from? Well, faulty equipment and installations primarily. And I think we're all aware of even the items that comply with regulations can sometimes go wrong, when they're improperly installed. So installations of equipment have to be kind of grouped together, but also a lot of non-compliant equipment that never did work properly. And electronic devices emit RFI in two ways. Radiated RFI is emitted directly into the environment from the equipment itself, and conducted RFI is released from components and equipment through the power line cord into the AC power line network. And that conducted RFI can affect performance of other devices on the same network. So what does it come from? Well, at one time, a washing machine was just a washing machine. Well, not anymore. It's a variable speed DC motor drive. And the same applies to any kind of rotating machinery in the home. Computers are a problem because everything contains a switch mode power supply, nearly everything. And it isn't just the computers. Routers, network switches, printers, all have the supplies in them as well. And also commercial electronics. Just about everything we have in our homes has a commercial equivalent as well. And on top of a wide range of things, security systems, lighting. I think we all know about floodlights, or our neighbors' floodlights that can cause issues. And again, it's power supplies. Automobiles, of course, have turned into complex electronic systems. And that's not even thinking about EV and self-driving ones. Of course, there's also high voltage local transmission lines. They're still subject to failures and gradual breakdowns as ever. Electric fences, although not nearly as bad as they used to be, will cause problems. And whatever's coming along next, you just don't know what's going to arrive at your door or accidentally arrive at your house, maybe like a lazy boy chair with an integrated USB port. Jason? A lazy boy, or something like it. The RFI emitting pouch. There you go. All right. How was it created? Well, overwhelmingly from one source, and that is chopping up the mains power, because that's exactly what switch mode power supplies, motor controllers, and dimmers actually do. Okay, so what this is classic 60 hertz wave from your utility supply. And it's what you get from a rotating generator that gives you a very good, sine wave. And that's how the mains used to be. I think you're probably also aware that sine wave contains only one frequency component. It's fundamental. No harmonics, no distortion, nothing. And there's a waveform from a dimmer, which could be the same waveform from a switching power supply or other device that is chopping up mains voltage. And when the sine wave gets distorted, the additional frequencies creep in, it causes a lot of harmonics, and all the way up into the HF spectrum, actually. Also, with switch mode power supplies, one of the things that happens is they do have capacitors in them that store up the charge, and mostly when they're running, they're really not running directly off the supply. They're running off of the power that's left in the capacitor, right up until the point where the top of the wave, where they have to draw that bit of current. And when that happens, it distorts the wave, and it causes, again, distortion along the path. So switch mode power supply, there usually isn't a transformer, which I've X'd out there. It's directly off the mains, but the same principle applies. Like I said, not everybody realizes that in a power supply like that, most of the time you're not drawing power from the mains. The equipment is being powered actually off the reservoir power in the capacitor. You can see the rectified applied voltage is there, and that's the output voltage of the power supply. So it draws a bit of current, and then it drifts down until it meets the applied voltage coming up. And then it draws another little bit of current. And you can see that that's on the rising edge of the applied sine wave. And that is exactly what we see on the mains. So the problem, of course, is now that we have dozens of that kind of power supply everywhere out there, rectifier, capacitor, power supplies connected to the mains. Some of them are big. Our neighbors have got lots as well, and they're all drawing current all at the same time. So it's not hard to imagine, given the impedance of the main supply, you can see the effects of the peak flattening because they're all at it, they're all doing it at the same time. And here's a graph showing an example of fundamental frequency and the lower order harmonics produced. All the low order harmonics are not going to do much damage by themselves, but they do excite resonances in other parts of the circuit, like a parasitic inductance of transformers and so on. If there are transformers, then that's where the high frequencies appear from, together with another bunch of higher frequencies due to storage time in rectifiers. When the rectifiers are switching on and off, you get another bunch of higher order harmonics. The main problem is with unfiltered or inadequately filtered switch mode power supplies. Switch mode power supplies themselves are not necessarily bad. It's just harder to work to make them good. And one of the problems is that we're all aware of course, is with non-compliant supplies coming in from the Far East, where the provision is made for the mains filter on the printed circuit board, and the samples that get tested for compliance have those in, but then they somehow mysteriously disappear for the actual goods that we get. And all this RF noise and the interference makes its way back into the local mains. So how's this getting into our receivers? Well, it's coming in through the antenna. It's also coming through the mains, and it's coming through other attached cables in our shack. Things we know, but don't necessarily always correlate together. Radiated signals in free space are electromagnetic fields. Inside a receiver, radio signals are currents flowing along wires. And the thing that converts one into another is an antenna. It can be thought of as a black box into which you put electromagnetic radiation, and out the other end you get currents on wires. That's universally true. So if you're going to have direct radiation making its way into a receiver, it's going to have to be converted into interference in the receiver. There needs to be an antenna in the receiver. And if it's going to be converted into strong interference, it needs to be an efficient antenna, which mostly isn't there. which is why I'm saying that the radiation into the receiver is somewhat overrated, and predominantly interference gets into receivers along the wires and cables. So it's not just coming into your receiver directly. So as I said, it's getting in along the wires and cables, through the antenna, and through the mains. And the unfortunate fact, these days, the main supply is heavily polluted with RF interference, and this includes the mains ground as well. So the same solutions work for both receiving and transmitting. If you clean up the RFI, you can increase your chances of hearing weak signals and decrease the risk of causing interference.
What is the difference between common mode noise and differential mode noise? Common mode refers to noise currents that flow in the same direction in a pair of conductors, while differential mode, or normal mode, refers to noise currents that flow in opposite directions in a pair of conductors. For example, consider a pair of copper wires that are wound around a ring-shaped ferrite core. Common mode currents flow into the wires in the same direction. The current flow through each wire creates a magnetic field, and because the current flow is the same direction for both wires, the magnetic field current adds together. This results in a high common mode impedance and filters out common mode noise. Differential mode currents flow in opposite directions, and the magnetic fields that these currents generate cancel each other out. This results in low differential mode impedance and allows the desired differential signals to freely pass through the wires.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is the transmit solution problems. You can see we have a dipole antenna here, and you can see I've drawn arrows where on the outside of the shield we have common mode, which we just talked about, RF current coming down, getting into your rig, actually getting through the supply, and actually all the way into the mains, RF mains. So how do we correct this? Well, ferrite chokes. Best place for a dipole antenna would be, the first place to go would be to put a choke at the feed point, antenna feed point. You can also use basically a current balun there as well. That's going to be a good start. That is going to choke off that common mode current that's coming down the outside of the your shield and keep it from getting into your radio. Another great place is right where you can put one on another where it enters the shaft. That also helps. And the third place is actually to put a choke on the mains. And you need to cover all three conductors for that, your hot, neutral, and ground.
In one choke?
Yes. And I'll show that in a minute. The other thing not to forget is to make sure that you choke anything like the ferrite piece that's connected to your rig. So a lot of folks forget about this. If you've got your computer connected, which a lot of us do,
USB cables.
Yep, through USB cable or Ethernet cable with the Ethernet cables with the newer rigs, you definitely want to choke those off as well. So for the receive situation, it's really the same problems, and it's actually the same solutions. So you want to choke off where you can those areas. Now, the only one thing caveat I will say is the choke that's at the feed point of a dipole antenna is fine if you have something like an end-fed half wave or other antennas. You do not want to choke at the feed point. You're going to want to choke further down the line. On the tables, I also have a couple of examples of chokes. I think I've got one over there in a box. That is a feed line choke, one of which I use, and there's also feeds that I have around, and I also have, I think on this table, a toroid core choke as well. The key points are, of course, all three mains main wires must go through the choke, including mains earth, and everything in the shack then will get its main supply, its AC supply, from where you choke that off. So if you have an outlet strip, you have that choked, and then everything from there on forward, will be okay. So here is an example of a mains choke. These things are pretty big. You want to use ones that have a mix 31 ferrite core with about a 25 millimeter center hole and large snap-on type. You can use the toroid ones, but the advantage of the snap-on type is a couple things, especially the big ones. You can get a lot of big, thick wire through it. The more turns you put through this, the better the choking impedance will be. And it's also good to have if you need to take something like that into the field as well. So you have it for, maybe if you were out someplace for a field day or something, or you're at your neighbor's or something and you want to see if something is going to work. Having a big snap-on one means you don't have to disconnect whatever's connected to it to see if it will work for you. There's one of the feed line chokes like I have over on the other table. The thing to remember here is that the benefits are both on transmit and receive, so it's definitely worth cleaning for interference, receiving weak signals. And that is it. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Jeff? All right. Nicely. Oh, over there.
Okay.
Chuck.
Yeah. One thing that you didn't mention that I had a tremendous problem with, and that is LED lighting. Because I have my 2-meter rig in the living room and nice environmentally responsible LED lights in the kitchen and elsewhere. And with the rig more than 20 feet from the primary LED interference source, it's strong enough that it wipes out, wipes out the entire 2-meter band. Now that is transmitted from the lighting fixture to the antenna and also to transmit it through all the wiring in the house, which makes a fabulous antenna farm and a nightmare to figure out where the noise is coming from.
That's correct. I did have in one of the slides LED lights. I was kind of going quick over it, but yeah, those are definitely a source. Yes, sir.
I was just going to comment that not all LED lights will be that noisy. There was a local utility company that made an offer not long ago that sent out LED lights if you requested them, and they were notoriously noisy. They were terrible. But again, like, depends on what far east suppliers they came from. But they are. So.
Yeah, you can have two different LEDs, and one is incredibly noisy, and one is not.
Yeah, one other thing I found, and of course, tearing my hair out running this down, was that back converting some of the LEDs to compact fluorescent. I couldn't find a compact fluorescent that was even a little bit noisy, and likewise for the linear fluorescence as well. And of course, incandescents are not going to create noise.
Right. All right.
Jeff?
Yes.
I said, I've noticed the LED bulbs that you get on the market are much quieter than the earlier ones. And if you have some old ones, you might want to replace them with one of the newer ones because they seem to be 10 times quieter.
Right. And one thing I will mention that I kind of skipped over real quick is that if you have interference in your house and you're trying to track it down, one of the best ways, and I've used this before, sometimes your significant other will not like it because all the clocks go out, but find a 12-volt battery, connect your rig to 12 volts through the battery, and shut the entire mains off to your house and see if the noise goes away. If it does, it's somewhere in your house. If it doesn't, it's somewhere in your neighbor's house. So, but at least you can isolate it down that way. All right, thank you.
All right, I appreciate everybody who came out today, except for Dustin. And
Womp womp.
Ron, you keep paying attention every once in a while, but wow, I know. I used to be a teacher, man. That was tough. That's right. Anyway, thank you all for coming tonight. Hopefully I didn't bore you to death. Jeff had a great, really nice presentation. I do have a box of toroids, can't even say it, that I might have to maybe start strategically placing pieces of areas in my shaft. Anyway, thank you all, and we'll do this again next month. Thank you. Cusco is an indoor fest, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, some people were wondering about rain.